There are a lot of dungeons in Final Fantasy XIV. A whole lot. Some people say there are too many. Some people think there aren't enough. Me, I kind of fall in the middle. I love to see more dungeons, but only if they're like these. So here's a list of my top 5 dungeons that I hope they use as models for future dungeons in Endwalker. Number 5 is Holminster Switch. The thing I like the most about this dungeon is that it was a perfect jumpstart into what Shadowbringers was bringing from a story perspective and a difficulty one. It's the first time you get to test out the new trust system, which lets you run dungeons with the Scions like Alisaie and Alphinaud, Urianger, Thancred, and so on. And the first thing you see when you get into this dungeon is the Sin Eater that killed Tesleen, doing the exact same thing she did to her to a bear. Alisaie recognizes it and comments on it, and you fight through Sin Eaters that hit your item level 400 tank like a truck as you go to take revenge on the beast that killed Alisaie's friend. Then you have to fight the transformed Tesleen herself before you finally run into the Light Warden. Now the Warden has mechanics that, well, they aren't that difficult once you've gotten used to it, but on that first run, it led to a whole lot of quick deaths. I mean, the difficulty level, the lore, the sense of traveling across an open landscape with people fleeing for their lives in the background all earned this dungeon the 5th spot on my list. Taking the number 4 spot is Doma Castle. The battle to remove the Garlean presence from Doma is something that you take a lot of time to build up to by finding Hen, getting the different Zayla tribes to rally behind you, all the while being hunted by the Garleans after taking defeat after defeat at the hands of Xenos. So when you and your new army go to take back the castle, it's a fight that's been long overdue. But the place became the most memorable because of the out-of-place upbeat music. Here you are fighting for your life, and the music sounds like something you'd hear on one of the laid-back filler episodes of an anime. That and the fact that you get to finish off the Garlean that's been stalking you throughout half of Stormblood makes this dungeon my number 4. Number 3 is the Gimlet Dark. I really love all the instances where your allies are fighting with you, and this one had everyone from Lys to Connie Senna facing down the Garlean threat, just to give you an idea of how large from a story perspective this conflict was. You run across a battlefield filled with enemies, while soldiers of the Alliance and well-known allies battle in the background. Unlike a lot of other dungeons where the stakes don't really seem all that high, Gimlet really feels like the climax of a story, like you finally about to see something major happen that's going to change everything in the near future. And the 2 bosses you fight at the end are not to be trifled with either, and they'll kill you if you mess up any of the mechanics, which caused this dungeon to take the number 3 spot. Number 2 is the Twinning. Starting at the high-speed remix to the Circus Tower theme song, everything in this dungeon just feels fast, especially when you have a tank that pulls everything he can. Getting to explore this version of the Crystal Tower, find out all the hidden little lore secrets, and fighting the version of Alexander made by the Garland Ironworks at the bottom of the dungeon makes for a boss fight that can be annoying for a caster, but overall, it's the complete package. Everything about this dungeon is great. The music, the trash pulls, the bosses. This is one of my favorite dungeons, but it's not my favorite dungeon. That goes to the Hero's Gauntlet. From the way it starts with you and the Scions hopping in an airship to head back to the Crystarium, only to have a Dragoon dive bomb your ship out of the air and force you to run all the way across Novrant on foot while fighting off warriors from other worlds that were summoned by Elidibus. Along the way, everyone who you helped across the entirety of Shadowbringers helps you fight, from the miners with the Talos golems to the giant Fuath who turned you into a frog during the dungeon in Ilmeg. Lastly, all of the bounty hunters who helped you take down the Cardinal Virtues show up at the end to help you through the home stretch where you face off against a giant berserker. This dungeon was perfect. No mistakes, no flaws. It was fun. I've had to run it a multitude of times and it was great every single time. I love this dungeon. Adding to that the fact that when you finish the Hero's Gauntlet, you step into my favorite trial in the game. And yeah, you have the complete package. This was great. I hope they can top it in Endwalker. But until then, this is my list of my favorite dungeons. What are some of yours? Tell me in the comments down below, and be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future content.